So this is me up at my local water, Roslyn on a cracking morning. And yeah, it's getting to that time of year now where the temperature's dropping quite a bit. We're going to be coming into the winter lure fishing. And yeah, today's video I'm just going to focus on my top winter lures and how I fished them, and yeah, some tips, some clips of me catching some fish in the last couple of weeks. Really, I've been spending my time the last couple of weeks sort of developing better winter lures for myself, trying to up my lure game this winter. Now I do still fish naturals during the winter, tends to be at specific times of day. You'll always catch fish on nymphs even in winter, but yeah, lures really come into their own in winter and it can be great fun, to be honest. So there'll also be a chance to win some of these flies, so if you stay tuned to the video I'll give you details at the end on how you can win some. Definitely a prize worth winning and will bag you many fish. I've also launched a website where you can buy some of these flies. I had a lot of requests if people could buy some of the flies I've been tying, so yeah, I've launched a website. It's going to be on a small scale. I do have a full-time job and 2 young children, but yeah, I've enjoyed being tying up these patterns, and if you go over to the website you can see what's available. So yeah, I'll give full details at the end of the video on the new website and how you can enter the competition to win the flies. So onto the lures now, and by far my favourite lure for fishing in winter is a fry pattern. Now I've hunted high and low for the highest quality zonker strips I could buy, and I'm happy with these ones now. That one there, more natural sort of orangey colour. The natural fry patterns have been working really consistently, and the sort of brighter barred versions on the right there work really well at attracting and getting aggression out of the fish. The yellow olive there on the left has been very popular for brown trout. So yeah, real good selection of fry patterns that I've been tying. The black's brilliant when it's sort of murky water, and obviously black and green is a killer winter pattern. I tend to fish these just as a single fly, but the key thing is a Rapala knot or non-slip loop knot. I tend to fish it on 15 foot leader and retrieve fairly quick or sort of medium paced, just depends what the fish fancies. And as you can see here, this was me at my local water, Roslyn with the fry pattern on and hooked into an absolutely cracking brown trout. Another great tactic when fishing the fry pattern is just make sure you put in a few pauses. So regardless how fast you're retrieving, add in a few pauses and start again. These do have a bit of weight to them, so they drop down and then restart, and that seems to definitely trigger in the fish to hammer in them. So number 2 on my list would be damsels. Now I class these as lures because these damsels are pretty large, but regardless of that, they still work. They really work in winter as well as summer. I tend to fish these in the margins with a natural on the dropper, so 7.5 feet to the dropper, 8 foot to the point. I think I've featured damsels heavily on my channel so far, but they just work. Doesn't matter what time of year. I tend to fish them on a floating line round the margins with a natural on the dropper, and they bag me fish every time. Next on the list is eggs. Now, in winter, you can't go wrong with fishing eggs, either pulling them or on the bung. You can see these eggs here, I call them crazy eggs. They're great for retrieving. I tend to retrieve them extremely slowly. Have 2 on a cast, so 7.5 feet to the dropper and 8 feet to the point, and just really retrieving them slowly, and that really can attract the fish in with these crazy eggs that have got a bit of straggle through them. There's a bit of movement and it really does work well in the winter. Obviously you can also fish eggs on the bung, and you've seen from my previous videos how effective that can be. So I tend to start off with 2 flies, one set at 3 foot and one set at 6 foot. And yeah, just depending how deep the fish are sitting, you can always adjust the depth, and you'll eventually find what depth they're at. So I tend to start at 3 and 6 foot, and yeah, you can vary the colours and sizes of the eggs. I do find that varying them quite often during the day can mean that you can keep catching fish consistently. as you can see here, got a nice little rainbow on. And yeah, I tend to fish a tungsten beaded egg on the point, and on the dropper sometimes a crazy egg can attract them in. But yeah, just varying the colours and sizes I think works really well when fishing eggs under the bung, and not just sticking to the same all day. Next on my list would be what I'm calling a straggler. So basically a marabou tailed lure, but rather than frits I seem to favour sort of more straggle materials now. So this particular pattern, which is a coral coloured marabou with some pink straggle, really does produce, and especially when it's sunny. The sunlight catching the marabou colour just really pops, and I've had a lot of success with these lures, even in the last few weeks. On to another favourite is the cat's whisker. Now it's a variant that I've got here with a sort of sunburst wing, but even just a classic white cat's whisker, it's always going to catch you fish in winter. I tend to fish it as one fly if I use a bigger variety, or if I can use the smaller ones in slightly different colours, I'll be using two. So if it was one, it'd just be on a 15-foot leader. Two, it'd be the same 8-foot and 7.5 foot. Next on my list is a classic winter pattern, the Humongous. So this is a golden black variant, usually golden black or silver and black. I quite like it with these red eyes, and I would only ever fish this as one fly on a 15-foot leader. Now that can be either on a midge tip or slow intermediate, fast intermediate, even down to sinking lines. Tends to be retrieved quite quickly and never fails to catch you fish during winter. Next up is the squirmy worm. Very good pattern for winter, plenty of movement in them. This variety here I would tend to fish under a bung with the one tail, and I would have a twin-tailed version for pulling. Very effective flies, and as I say, great movement and great colours you can get the material in, so definitely a must-have pattern for winter. Next on my list is the Okie Dokie. So again, great for under the bung. Sort of classic colour here is the white with I put a mirage rib on it with the orange head, but also I quite like it with the green head. And yeah, under the bung they can be very deadly. I like to tie them quite small and thin like buzzers, maybe a little bit more body to them, but yeah, as you can see here, this is me into a rainbow on the bung on the Okie Dokie. Really good pattern for the winter, and tends to catch you fish when the fish are a bit more spooky. They can't help but take these. Next on the list is the Boobie. Now in winter, when there's been a hard frost, sometimes the fish can be sitting very deep, and this is where Boobies come into their own. Classic black and green pattern there, and I tend to have these on a deep sinking line, and probably most likely to be on 6-foot leader. That just gives you enough that you can slowly retrieve it. If you were leaving it static, you would probably reduce that maybe to about 3 foot. I would just tend to make sure that I'm not fishing them static if I'm on catch and release, because it can deep hook fish. So yeah, I find it really effective on a 6-foot leader, and just a nice slow retrieve. When the fish are sitting deep, yeah, it will bag you many fish. The black and green's really good. I also find that the sort of pinky colours, or even a sunburst colour, has been working really well for me in winter. Next up is the Apps pattern. Apps bloodworm, absolutely deadly. Various colours you can get in this, obviously. I tend to find it fish most effectively just as a single fly. Tends to be on an intermediate line, and I tend to have that on 15-foot leader. Retrieves pretty quickly, seems to do the damage. It just, all that movement in the legs really does attract the fish to take. So as you can see here, this was me up at my local water again, Rose and Lee, and yeah, into a fish on the Apps. They do fish well on midge tip as well, slower, but I find it's more consistent on intermediate lines. Retrieved fast, that tends to be a good trigger to catch a fish. So now over to the competition, and if you'd like to be in with a chance of winning the flies, so a great selections of flies that are featured in this video, all you have to do is make sure you've subscribed to this channel, and also go over to my new Facebook page, and if you can like the Facebook page, and there'll be a post there on the competition. If you can just comment win under the post, and you will be entered into the competition. I'll give it maybe a week or so, and then I'll announce the winner. So yeah, good luck. And if you would like to go to the website, it is www.thetroutflyfisherman.com, and on there I will have a small supply initially of flies. I mean, it's always going to be a sort of smaller scale, as I said, but if you like to buy any flies, get over the website and have a look. And I have put on there, I will do some custom orders, so if there's patterns you like the look of but they're out of stock, I've also got a section of flies that are coming soon. I will take a limited amount of custom orders, so if I get too many I'll basically update the website saying it's closed for now. But yeah, I'm intending to keep tying these patterns. I'm quite enjoying tying at the minute as well, so if you're interested in that, head over to the website. One last tip before I go, this was me fishing at Menteith on the boat, and always important no matter what pattern you fish in to hang your flies. So this was me fishing a fry pattern, and as you see, came up to the edge of the boat there, hung my fly, and it hammered it. So always hang your flies and you'll always be rewarded with an extra fish or two. Thanks for watching the video guys, and I'll see you next time.